In the Congo. I walked to the Fertile Crescent and built the Sphinx. I designed a pyramid so tough that a star that only glows every 100 years falls into the center, giving divine, perfect light. I am bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pains created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert. With a packet of goat's meat and a change of clothes, I crossed it in 2 hours. I am a gazelle. So swift, you can't catch me. For a birthday present when he was 3, I gave my son Hannibal an elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength flows ever on. My son Noah built New Ark, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a soft summer day. I turned myself into myself and was Jesus, Menenton, my loving name. All praises, I am the one who would save. I sow diamonds in my backyard. My bowels deliver uranium. The filings from my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose, giving oil to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round off the earth as I went. The hair from my head thinned and gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky.
Welcome to Paradigm Shift TV 314. I am Bianchi Patama Nefer. I'm on Raw, your host. And today we have a powerful show with a powerful sister. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but before I do, let me do my usual greeting. I want to say hotep to my fellow Kemetic brothers and sisters. I want to say God bless to my Christian brothers and sisters. I want to say shalom to my Israelite brothers and sisters. I want to say Islam to my Moorish brothers and sisters. I want to say assalamu alaikum to my brothers and sisters in Islam. And I want to say Jambo to all the rest of my brothers and sisters throughout the African diaspora, whether it's here in the United States of America or abroad. And with that, sister, introduce yourself.
Peace. My name is Blakk Goddess. I'm here with the brother. I'm honored to be here on this platform to just, share my side of my perspective of this universal shift. I don't have a big intro, so I'm gonna just keep it short so we can get right into it.
That'll work. So first of all, I know you're a Muslim or Muslim. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And I know for those who are into Black liberation, Black spiritual awakenings, etc., consciousness, so to speak, that can be off-putting or offsetting because it's considered an Abrahamic religion. How long have you been a Muslim, or has that been something that you've been? Were you born into it, or did you come into it later on in life?
Well, I was born Muslim, so it's just always been with me. It's always been in my family, in my immediate family, from birth.
Okay. Now, were you NOI or Sunni, Shiite?
Well, my parents was NOI at first. When they was younger, they joined. They was young, like in their 20s. My mother was like 19, 18, and they joined because that was the movement at the time. It was kind of like being a Panther. So they joined, and when they started to have us, they slowly shifted from that to Sunni Islam. Okay. But I never really. I always knew that we were Sunni because they would let it be known. But I never was obsessed with Sunni or anything. I didn't. When I was younger, I really didn't even know about the different sects of Islam because they say it's 72. But we only are really familiar with a few, like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that many, to be honest. I mean, I knew it was a few, but I had no idea that it was that, it varied that much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just taught me something, but I did know that it was a few. So is it kind of like, you know how the Christian church has denominations? Is it similar to that, or?
Um, yeah, well, I would say that when you look at Christianity, and you have the different denominations, they all are still, similar. They all recognize that they are one. But when you look at Islam and the different sects, it's totally different. It's not like you have Sunni Muslims, and then they're not feeling the NOI, and they're not feeling the Shiites and the Sufis. But I look at it just differently. I look at it as just one, because people ask me all the time, like, they want to know, what kind of Muslim are you? What Muslim are you? And I'm like, I'm just Muslim.
Right.
I'm just a servant of the Creator. That's it. I'm not obsessed with getting in, because then that just separates you, and then you can't really fully understand if they saying it's 72 sects and only like 4 of them are really publicized. It's like, well, I have a lot more learning to do, because somebody's not teaching about this.
Right.
So I'm not obsessed with the different sects, and I've had debates, heated debates, huge debates with so many brothers at that, not even women. I'm talking about men, and I have to serve them up, because they don't expect a woman to know, the things that I know.
Right. Yeah, it seems like we get really caught up, and I have too. So I gotta admit that for myself. We get really caught up in who's right, who's wrong, XYZ. Because even like when I first left Christianity, even up to probably about a month ago, I just had to make up in my mind, look, whatever worked for a person, that's what worked for them. It's not my job to tell somebody this is false or this is real. Whatever worked for you, if you're a better person, do that. It ain't my job to try to debunk nobody's spiritual belief. But when I first became quote unquote consciousness, I thought I thought that was my mission, because you have such a negative connotation for that form of thing, because you feel bamboozled or hoodwinked or whatever the case may be. And I think that's what it be with a lot of the brothers when they move on from it, or if they in a different facet of it. Because I notice Christians debate the Hebrew Israelites a lot, and the Nation of Islam debate Sunni Islam. It's kind of Jehovah's Witnesses debate Mormons, and etc. So everybody just kind of, even in the Kemetic tradition, which is what I study, everybody don't feel the same way about it. And you never, like, we get the first thing I would say, it's 50 different Christian denominations. Well, the more you study the Kemetic tradition in terms of the modern sense, it's 10 different, 20 different variations. And I might decide tomorrow that I want to follow it or study it a different way. And now that's my variation. So everybody can make a variant of whatever spiritual tradition they want to make. But I think brothers in particular, we got that debate and that argument.
They like that. It's the ego. I'm telling, and I talk a lot about that ego. They don't want to hear that. Because it's funny when I do my live streams, I'll talk about the women and go crazy on the women, and they love it. As soon as I start talking about the men, they don't like that, and I'm like, what happened? You thought They're like, oh, you changed. No, I didn't change. You just like when I'm talking about the women. You don't like me talking about the men. But we can't. We got to talk about it both. Like, we have to.
Right. I agree. So now I'm gonna go to my second question. So clearly you're about your people. You're about moving Black people forward in power. So we kind of touched on it, but what do you say to people who say following an Abrahamic faith is a contradiction to moving Black people forward in power?
Well, I have to say it like this. It's obvious that those people they don't have the proper information. They don't have a clear understanding of bloodline, of the history of Islam. Because a lot of people think that this is a Arab religion, or the Arabs, and the ones I'm talking about, the ones that don't have melanin, that they own it or something. And I always have to correct people. They don't. We in Islam, there's a chronological order from before there was even any books. It acknowledges that don't think that this is like the start of Islam. Islam was here, and all of the other ways of life was here before any books. So people who think that it's a contradiction, they looking at it as like a form of slavery. They go to the part where they was enslaved by certain Muslims, and you did have Muslims, enslaving people, because it even stated in the Quran. And it says too that when they realized that they wanted to be Muslims, they could not be slave owners anymore. So for people to even, come through Islam and still enslave people with the knowledge, that's automatically wrong. And those people are not, they're not Muslims. They just saying that they are, but they're not. So I know it's just a lack of knowledge and this propaganda, people just spreading misinformation, the wrong information, and not really understanding. But I do understand what people say, because anybody can use any type of way of life or form of religion to enslave people. And yes, Islam has been used to do that. So I'm not mad at those people for voicing those opinions, because if they don't, we can't correct it. We cannot give them the proper information that they're looking for, if they are looking to be, have the right information. So, it's just a opportunity to just teach the people, just to show them that this is something that no man has ever taught it this way. This is the biggest issue, because all you have is imams, and the imam is a man who you go to, and you looking for him to teach you about Islam from start to finish. And in the Quran, it says that you have to be self-sufficient. Self-sufficient, that means without a person teaching you anything. If you didn't have a book, if you didn't have the Quran, how would you know to tap into the Creator? If you didn't have somebody to tell you anything, and that's what needs to be explained to people. So that's why I'm here, so we can, get into some of those things tonight.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was one of my biggest drawbacks, because I briefly, and I still got a lot of respect for this brother. He a member of the NOI, and he and I got really tight. He owned a barber shop that I used to go to, and I would go to the mosque with him. And but a brother was like, "Hey, the Arabs enslaved our people before, like 1,200 years before the European did." And me being a student of history, I'm like, "Dang, why didn't I know this?" So then I started studying, and I'm like, yeah, and you automatically take the actions of the people and you put it on belief.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the same era with Christianity. I was having an argument with a brother, not I ain't gonna say an argument, but a debate back and forth with a brother today about Christianity. His belief is that they didn't teach our ancestors true Christianity, because if they did, they would have wanted to uprise and make themselves free. So my counter argument is, when you look at what the Bible say about slavery, I don't know why you say that, because the Bible says slaves obey your master. And it's I gave him several scriptures where it says similar statements. And then so he invoked Moses, and he was like, well, if they would have heard Moses saying, let my people go, I say, well, if they would have continued to read, they would have saw that Moses wanted his people to be let go, but he was cool with everybody else being slaves, because Leviticus and Deuteronomy tells you how to conduct slavery, and was fine with the slave trade. So, we went back and forth for a while. He was like, man, I'm gonna jump on with you tonight and we're gonna talk about it. I'm tired of writing these long paragraphs. But at the same time, I can't take the actions of those people and put it on the belief. So I'm trying to be better at separating the actions of people who say they follow these beliefs and separating it from the actual belief. Now that don't mean I still want to follow the belief. That just means having clarity on separating what the belief was actually meant to do and what other people decided to do with it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that we have to learn. I had to learn myself too, studying. Even the biggest thing when you saying you have to separate the people from the actions of a small group of people is racism. That's the biggest thing that we can look at, because look, when the NOI came out, they was real militant, they was real hard, and they said the white man is the devil. And so it was either you was with that or you was against them.
Right.
But now you have to look at you have to use common sense and say, the white people that live next door to me, they are enslaved too. They don't even know where they came from. I probably have more knowledge about their history than they have about theirs. And I've spoken to white people and they be like, I didn't know that. So I don't hate them. And I understand when they say that they, when it talks about genetics and bloodline, that they come from a certain bloodline and they have the abilities to do certain things if they are put in certain positions. That I understand too. So it's the same. It's kind of like the same thing when you looking at it, and it's just all about emotions. People, they get the emotions caught up in it, and they just be riding off of emotions, and you have to separate the emotions from just pure truth, because the truth don't care about your emotions and how you feel. It's just is what it is. So I look to connect all different religions, not just the three main ones, which is Judaism, Christianity, Islam, but all of these different ways of life. I look at it as one. I see the full spectrum, that it talks about those type of Muslims in the Quran, saying that those are the ones that actually have it right from amongst the people. So yeah,
Yeah, and that kind of lead me to the next question. So in addition to being a Muslim, you study other spiritual traditions. Can you tell us what some of those are and why they kind of called to you or attracted you?
The biggest ones, I'm gonna attempt to go in chronological order, based off of my spiritual awakening. But of course, I start with Islam, and just making a decision to do something right. That already sparked something in me. I always had, a craving for knowledge and to know things and for history. That was always in school. That was like the biggest subject that I love, because it teach you about what happened before. So I went, started through Islam, and then automatically, I went right into Egypt, what they call Egyptology, which is not the real thing, but the Egyptian spiritual system. I went there because that when I got to that page in the Quran, that just jumped out to me, and I was like, when the Quran is actually paying respects to the Egyptians, saying how they was the most advanced civilization, automatically I was like, oh, this is why everybody is stuck on Egypt, because even in the Quran it said this was the most advanced. So I said, okay, and then it started talking about the Israelites. And it's funny because I had met a guy and he was a Hebrew Israelite, and I didn't even know what that was at the time. I think it was a few years ago, probably like 3 years ago. I didn't even know what that was. It was foreign to me. I was like, what's that? And he told me, and then he started to send me videos on it. And he was really trying to indoctrinate. He wanted me to be in with it. And I was like, yeah, like he was trying to, I didn't know that that's what he was
looking for a wife.
Yeah, that's what he was looking for a concubine, because this man had women all over the place. He had women everywhere, just doing them dirty too, not even respecting the women. He just like a regular nigga,
Okay.
But just using the Bible to lure women in. So that's how I knew about the Hebrew Israelites. And I see in the Quran it talks about the children of Israel. I see the NOI talk about the children of Israel. So I went from back in between from that to Egypt, but Egypt, that really catapulted me completely. Just, having that information about how we really, really ruled, and how you even had Egyptian Muslims that they don't even talk about. Not everybody was worshiping Ra. You had like Akhenaten, he was a monotheist. He was considered a Muslim. That's what, he only worshiped one creator. And that's why they hated him. They tried to erase him. He wasn't the only one. They tried to erase him completely and change his name on his tomb and everything. So going from
on my arm is too far up for me to show you, but yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, I'm rocking with Akhenaten. He knew he was a rider. Like, he wasn't caving in. He wasn't scared to, let people know that I'm not with that, with y'all on. Like, I'm different. So I went through that, and I went into everything, into Ifa. Not ever converting or practicing any of these things, but just studying Ifa, because I know a lot of people in Ifa that do voodoo and voodoo, and I wanted to know because, growing up personally, I have family members who was in that, and they had me scared because I'm like, what you doing to yourself? Like, what are you really doing? But they just wasn't really doing the right things with it anyway. So I had to understand what was it really about, and going from that Ifa to Babylon, going into Babylon with the Sumerians and Assyrians, and they had those mixtures of religions. It was like, because in the Quran it talks about intermixing, how they all started to intermix. I'm like, going into all these things, just studying, I'm like, wow, this information is so deep. This is how they got to where they got, because they was just doing whatever they felt like it was right, whatever they felt like was going to put them closer in the position to being God or being godly. So it's nothing that I won't study, either atheism, Satanism, Luciferianism. I think, I was studying that when I was young, and I didn't even know it. Like, in high school, I would look up stuff about the Illuminati, and I didn't know, their religions or whatever, but I was just knowing the things that I know, like through the, Hollywood, the music industry and stuff. And all of those things just spoke to me. Every single one of them spoke to me at some level, at some point. So I was like, all of these things could be used for different times and for different things. And only the true wise will understand that and tap in and use these things for what they need to use them for. So those are some of the things. And it's so many more, Hinduism, Buddhism, studying that, understanding, because I had a professor in college, my first year of college. He was a Buddhist and a white man, and all he would do was just talk about. One of those professors that don't teach, he just talk about whatever he want to say. And I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? But he was explaining how he liked Buddhism because it was just relaxing and calming. And I always linked them to monks, linked them to meditation. And I knew that the religion itself, or the way of life, was of peace within self, and that spoke to me as well. And so I don't limit myself to nothing. Anything that I find, I just start studying immediately. I just start, and I go deep. I'm like a scholar when it comes to it. I'll stay on it for like weeks or for months or for years if I have to. I don't even care until I'm satisfied. So those are some of the spiritual systems that I came across. I'm still learning now.
Okay. So you don't dabble a little bit. You try to study it and actually try to get an understanding of it, as opposed to.
Yeah, I study until it's understood. Have to, because I know I'm going to come across people who as soon as I learn what I learn, right away, these individuals will just come to me, and I'm like, this is crazy. And so when I start talking to them, I have that information. It's fresh in my mind. I can send them whatever information or proof that they need, or books or anything. So I'm not really big on books like that though anyway, but I don't mind. I'll use books as like textbooks,
Yeah, because I find that people, it's interesting that you said you kind of look at different traditions and kind of pull what you can from it. Because I feel like that's useful, because I think people for me anyway, and I know for my cousin, when we stopped being Christians, the first thing everybody would say is they would take it personally, like, you not loyal, or you dabbling in this and you dabbling in that, or as if that's the end all, and nothing else matters. We have all these different spiritual concepts that some thousands of years before Christianity, but to them, that's the end all be all, nothing else matters. And if you not that, if you don't want to be that no more, it's a problem. And so we like, I mean, I'm not a bad person all of a sudden. I'm just not a Christian. But you don't stand for nothing, and you don't stand on nothing, and you just, and we like, huh?
Like what?
It's like,
they don't understand the path. Not to cut you off, but they don't understand the path. Because same thing with Islam, people, they'll see me dressed like now, it's the month of Ramadan. So the month of Ramadan is a month for, the creator and for yourself, because you don't see the creator. So it's more about you than you think it's about the creator. And this is the month where I do wrap my hair up, but I don't always wear my scarf. And if I take my scarf off and I'm dressed like how I normally would dress, people wouldn't even recognize that I'm Muslim. Or some Muslims would be like, oh, you're not supposed to take your scarf off and this and that. And they'll make you try to feel bad for being you. And that, at this point, nobody can make me feel bad for doing the things that I do. If you want to know why I do this thing, you can ask me. But I have so many Muslims, like, I'll talk to them and they'll be like, oh, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. And it's like, well, show me where. And they can't even show me in the Quran, in the book, where you're not supposed to do these things. So I just don't rely. You got to understand, you got to know when you know more than people. It's not even to be arrogant or to be cocky, but you have to realize when you are a divine being. Everybody don't get that opportunity. They don't have that chance. They die not knowing anything at all. So everybody don't get the chance to actually express themselves in all different ways and to just be free. We don't have to be, oh, if I look like this, or because I used to think about that when I first started my path, to really take it something serious. I was obsessed with, what are these people going to think if they see me this way or they see me that way? If they see me one day I'm like this or one day like that, I just let all that go, because I'm like, it don't even matter what they think, because they don't even know the things that I know. So does it really matter? Even in the Quran, they called the prophets sorcerers and saying that they was doing this and that because they were so powerful. So if you calling them sorcerers, then what are we? We have to be the same. We are the same. So we have the same understanding. So I just, I don't even look for people's approval anymore. I could go wherever. And it's like a uniform, I look at it like that. When people see you as you are, they feel more comfortable being themselves,
Yeah, I feel like that's what happens. You get comfortable in your own skin, and what happens is you people either have to take you as you are or discard you, better or for worse. And you can respect that choice, and there don't have to be no hard feelings about it. It's just, this is who I am now. And it's hard for people to let go of who you was. I got a cousin, and he always, when he raised issues of Christianity, he'll say something, and he'll say a couple of statements, and he'd be like, you know where I got that from? And I'm like, where, cuz? I got that from you. And I'm like, okay, I used to believe that. I don't, what you want me to deny?
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to say. I don't believe it no more. I respect what you're saying, but that's not where I'm at. And it's a difficult, I understand the difficulty or the difficult position that you put people in, because when you so ensconced in something that it's a part of fabric of who you are mentally. It's damn near a part of your DNA that for you, somebody they care about, to get outside of that scope, it's difficult. But nevertheless, that's what's taking place. So you just have to be comfortable in your own skin, or otherwise you will start questioning, damn, am I crazy?
It's like peer pressure.
Yeah, that's what it becomes.
Yeah.
Like
and that makes you more divine. If that don't make you fold and cave, you just become more divine, like all of the prophets that we had and all of the messengers, and that's exactly what they went through.
Yeah, because I almost it get to the point where I feel like a lesser person will just acquiesce, because it'll be a lot easier for me to just go along and pretend, and everybody will be happier. But
but would you be happy? Is the question. It's about you.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So, and eventually that would leak out, and so we'd be right back to where we was. So
yeah.
But now I'm gonna go to my next question. So now, one thing, the brother who told me about you, he was adamant about this, and I picked it up from our conversation. Clearly, you honor the Black man, but at the same time, you call us to task. Why is that important for you to both make sure you honor the Black man in our prospective place, but at the same time letting us know y'all still got work to do, or y'all got some work to do to get to where you need to be? Why is it so important for you to do both?
It's important to do both because the Black man is definitely divine. He is, if you look at the man that's ruling, that's running stuff right now, that's the Black man's position. That's the position that he's coming into. So him coming out of being a slave, like spiritually, mentally, physically, he's going to need, it's like therapy. He's going to need to understand that this is your position. This is the reason why we're going to hold you accountable. And then at the same time, we call it, stroking the ego. You have to stroke the ego. You have to, good job. Like, you're doing a good job. You got to let him know, like, all right, every step of the way, yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing, So it's just that time now. Like, I go hard. I don't play around at all. Now it's just a sacred month, so I'm kind of, scaling it back. But as we keep going, you'll see how hard that I actually go. And the reason why you have to hold him accountable is because you have to look at the Black man was programmed to be a nigga. He was programmed to be a Black nigga at that. And so he think at some point, that's cool doing those things, whatever it is, fulfilling that role, like, even the type of street lifestyle and everything, he think that, he gets rewarded for that. So if you want to break that type of cycle, you have to destroy that. You can't even congratulate that and say, listen, that's not impressive. Do something different. Okay, you made this much money selling what? That's not impressive. I don't care about that. And he's going to feel it. He's going to be like, oh, she don't care about that? No. Do something different now. Tell me something, that your forefathers did that, and it didn't have nothing to do with selling nothing illegal or putting themselves in a bond. So yeah, we're going to have, it's the Black woman's role, it's the goddess role to resurrect the man, because the woman is the resurrector and the man is the redeemer. So if you look at Isis or Set, if you want to say that, she was resurrecting Osiris, putting him back together again. You can look at that as a metaphysical thing, because that's what a woman does anyway. Anytime a man gets with a woman, whether she has knowledge herself or not, he's gonna wanna, if he wants to truly be with her, he's gonna look at it like, I need to do something different. I need to be better.
If I may, and I don't mean to cut you off, I'm gonna let you get back to what you were saying. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So you mentioned the story of Aset and Asar, and how she put them back together, resurrected them, so to speak. Now, and you mentioned how the brother calling himself selling this and selling that, but a real woman will be like, nah, that ain't the way, that don't impress me. I tell people this story all the time because my queen is a Christian. And we have conflict in that because she's been a Christian her whole life. She was raised in the church. The church she go to, 85% of that church is her family. This is a generational thing. Her great-grandfather, grandmother, mother, you know, this is, like I said, it's in her DNA. And so, but you said something, even when you don't have knowledge of self or you're not quote unquote consciousness, the Black woman is still resurrecting Black men. When I was a teenager, when we started dating, I called myself hustling. Like a lot of us get trapped into doing. She wasn't having it. Now, at an age where most women would be impressed by that, she was like, nah, you can't do that if you, like, we got a baby. You gotta get a job.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, seeing how most girls would be impressed by that, I'm like, huh? You want me to get a job? I think I had just bought her some kind of purse. I can't even remember what, but it was like a popular type of purse, and got her nails done. And I'm like, and you telling me to get a job? In high school, and that's what she did. And so my point in telling that story, we've been together. We'll be married 23 years in August.
That's
and
solid.
I tear myself apart, or I let the enemy, be it spiritual or otherwise, tear me apart. And she been putting me back together every since, metaphorically, like the story of a saw and a set. She do it all the time. And so this equipment for this show, she bought it. And so even though she not in agreement with my, as she like to say, my ideology, she still got my back. And so it's heavy because that's the Black woman. She got her king back regardless. Like I've lived it. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to tell that quick story real quick, and I'm gonna let you get back to what you were saying. But it hit me like when you were saying that, I'm like, she describing.
That's just happening.
My wife.
Yeah. So that, that's our role. A lot of women don't know their role. They just they don't have the knowledge of self. And that's why it's important for us to go hard and for us to put ourselves out there. Because, and I tell women all the time when I'm doing my lectures or when I'm doing my private sessions, that the man is looking for something. He's looking for something that he's not even going to say, because most of them don't even know what it is. It's a feeling. He know if he want to be with you or not based off of a feeling that you give him. He might not be consciously awakened yet or sparked yet, but he's still looking for us. He's scanning for something, and that's that ice is that energy, that healing energy. And if you don't have it, he'll take whatever you give him and throw you back. And that's what's happening to these women. They being, drained. He's taking whatever you're gonna give him, and you could do the most for him. Because I know women, they be doing everything for these men, and they like, I don't know what happened. Well, what happened is you don't have knowledge of yourself, and you don't love yourself enough to know when, a man is truly into you or not. You trying to love him, but you don't love yourself. So how can you even, if you saying this is what you want to do for him, that's good. But what are you doing for yourself? Because if you don't take care of yourself first, that what you're trying to do for somebody else is out the window. It's just not going to work. And that's people be skipping. I'm telling you, they be messing around and they neglect themselves. I know, because I used to neglect myself and do everything for everybody else, friends, everything, and just, make them so comfortable. And it's like, I'm just neglecting myself, and I'm like, I can't do that. So when you have love, self-love, which a lot of these women don't have, they have a lot of low self-esteem. They don't have love for self. When you love yourself, you're not thinking about, a man loving you, because you love you. And then the energy that you're riding off of is going to pull all these men into you anyway. They're going to be so attracted to you. You're going to be like, have all these options, and you have to tell some people no. And then you understand what it's really like to really be a divine being. That you have to make decisions to turn people away. You have to decline, and some you don't decline, and you learn lessons from not doing that. But sometimes you can't decline because you need, pain and suffering and adversity is going to make you who you are. It's going to make you more of a divine being. And if you're not looking forward to going through that, nobody really wants the pain. But me, I look at it like, yeah, bring it. Because I know if it come in the adversity, that's just an opportunity to elevate. That's letting me know that, oh, okay, I'm about to go to another level. Because I'm not going to let it stop me. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's death. I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not going to stop me from what I'm doing. And so it's just important that the woman, she is, even though it's a question about the man, it's important that the woman knows who she is so she can even do that for the man. So she can let him know when he's off balance, when he's not doing the right thing. Because a lot of these women, they'll just ride with these men, knowing they're not doing the right stuff. And then when he get locked up, she disappeared. And then he mad at her because she not there, but you thought that she was going to be there. Come on now. You really thought, like, you should have known what type of woman you had, and you really thought she was, only in, up until you get into that cop car, she riding with you, and she might answer a few phone calls at first, but then after that, that's it. So it's not even worth, if you conscious enough as a man, it's not worth even going down that path. You might as well just get acquainted with your king self, with your higher self, and do everything you got to do to bring that out and express that,
Yeah, because I that's one thing about the so-called conscious community that I see that kind of, it irked me. I see men constantly attacking black men, constantly attacking black women with regard, talking about what she not doing and what she should be and how she should be treating him and what standards she should be upholding and XYZ. Well, what standards should you be upholding? So what should you be doing? You so preoccupied with trying to tell her what she should be when you're not even realizing you're not what you should be. If I can't point to my flaws, now it's one thing for me to be making an effort, but still knowing I'm flawed and I can improve and calling myself critiquing somebody. But to just outright critique the woman and talk about how she not living up to your standards and what she should be if she gonna be with you, that's crazy to me. And you see it all the time. And then when that same sister end up going back to Christianity, where at the very least, or Islam, at the very least, or Hebrew Israelite at the very least, where a man, the doctrine says the man should give his very life for that woman. And then you mad because she went back to that.
Pour that out.
but you sitting up you supposed to be this and you supposed to be that. And then when
that's when they told her that she can't read and she can't teach. When she start bringing that stuff up, they like, you're not supposed to teach and all of that stuff. So
exactly, yeah. I'm like, this is crazy. So I feel like black men particularly, we have to start respecting each of our positions. And if we gonna pay homage to anybody, we gotta pay homage to the black woman. Be it this is our mother, our wives, our daughters, our sisters, our aunts, etc. And if we don't think about it, all that built up rage and frustration, we take it out on them because we either too cowardly or we too henpecked or whatever the case may be to take it out on the people we really want to take it out on. So we come home and we take it out on them. I was looking at a conversation with Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, where she was like, "I'd rather you just lie to me." and
I seen that too. Yeah, that was powerful.
I was like, man, it's heavy because she's saying, I just need you to be a man. Like hell, sleet, snow, whatever. Just be a man. We ain't got enough money to pay. Still, be a man. Whatever the case may be, the rent gonna get paid. Don't worry about kissing nobody. If you can't come home, if you can't kiss my tail and treat me right, don't worry about kissing nobody else's tail. The rent gonna be paid. So that was a heavy conversation, man. I just watched like 6 minutes. I'm like, man, this is, because that's what we do. We take on the world, and then when we get home, we want to huff and puff with the one person who gonna make it right for us. And then, so now she gotta bear the burden of whatever she went through and try to help us through our BS at the same time. And we took that burden off of us and put it right on her on top of everything else she dealing with.
Do you know how to reverse that? You have to encourage him to go after, to put it on the people that are supposed to be on. Like, I encourage the Black man. You already know what needs to be done. This is wartime. What you asking me what you need to do? When we at war, what you gonna ask me? Should you take his head off? You already know what you need to do.
I already know.
So that's gonna keep him from trying to dump it off on me. Cause see, the thing is, it's like this, like the Black man and the Black woman was made for each other. We came as like twin flames, one soul, but just so the energy is so big that it's two bodies. So you automatically gonna give stuff to me, and I'm gonna have to do something with it. That's what happens when you get with somebody. You're gonna reciprocate the energy. So when you bring that energy to me, I already know who did it. Okay, this is how you need to handle it. I'm gonna encourage you to put the energy where it needs to be, so that'll keep me safe. You know, that you use your wisdom, you use your knowledge. But these women don't have that, right? So now they just getting slapped up and choked out and stuff because there's no wisdom and knowledge. They don't know how to, and I'm not saying that it's right, but it's just, it is what it is. This is what's happening. It's been happening. And until these women have knowledge of themselves and stop worrying about the worldly stuff, stop worrying about the programming and other women who don't have no knowledge, you know, until they start worrying about that, it's going to keep happening to them, unfortunately. Now you have it where it's like these men are murdering these women. You was hearing about like the cat calling and stuff, like the energy in them, the rage is building up more and more. I know, because it's building up more and more in me, but I'm not going to take it out on you. I'm going to just have more love for you. And we just going, uh-oh.
Wow.
There we go. My screen went black. Okay, I'm back. You know, and we just gonna figure out how to defeat these people together, the ones who's causing all of this, because there's entities and energy that's causing all of this disruptance, and we have to address that too. Where's it coming from? Who put us in this box to where we like crabs in a barrel? We fighting each other. We arguing with each other. You know, because it's a lot of men and women together, but they're not actually together. They're not in a harmonious union. The vibrations is not flowing. It's really backed up energy.
Right.
So you have to encourage the men to go take 1,000 heads off. That's what he need to be doing. He's a warrior. Like, I look at all these Black men in the street, in gangs or whatever they want to call it. I just call them soldiers because that's what they are. Now, they just killing the wrong people. They're not directing energy in the right direction. It's like, okay, you want to kill somebody? I have a list of names of who you need to go get. You want to get some money? I have a list of names of where the banks are, where the money is. If that's what, you know, they looking for some direction. I think the woman, she guides the man. She gives him some guidance. But if she doesn't have any knowledge and wisdom, she can't guide him. So he looking like, what are you good? Is you not good for nothing but laying on your back, and that's it. Because where's the other stuff that was promised? Because he got this fantasy in his head, you know, and he needs to have the fantasy. That's the fantasy of the goddess.
My bad for cutting you off, but I tell people all the time, I say, don't stop telling these gangbangs to put their guns down. We got where they should be aimed. Like we got a ready-made army if we can get their head right. Mm-hmm. And so that's the key to winning this war. Because I tell people, broken people can be fixed. Like we not past her. The question is figuring out how do we get right, then proceed to do the repair. And I always like to a computer. See, we always talk about how the brain is like a central processing unit on a computer. Well, when a computer get a virus, as soon as you open it, you ain't blaming the computer because it got a virus. You blaming the person that programmed it. So who programmed us? Okay, so we gotta link the problem back to the source. So I'm not mad at my people. I'm mad at the people that programmed my people to be this way. Yeah. And everybody want to act like never had. Oh, that was too long ago. These are generational behaviors that have been handed down, just like everything else. So if we can hand down going to church, if we can hand down being a player, if we can hand down violence, we can hand down abuse, we can hand down drug use, we can hand down all of these different behaviors that coincide to us being unproductive in our neighborhoods that didn't start with us. These were things that were programmed in us from an enemy that never meant us any good, period. Yes. And we just gotta deprogram them. And it's gonna take time, but we gotta be up to the task, because otherwise we're gonna continue to be lost. So yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I think,
and I want to tie in too, because we are talking about religion, and if you look at Islam, the Islam that people are studying, or that, the way how they're being taught, is making them be very nonchalant about the situations that we're in. Because if you look at the 7 Islamic countries that we have, they all are oppressive to women. Like, some of those countries, you can't even go there. If I try to go to some of those countries, they're going to want to kill me right away. They're not taking, they're like, what? And you dark too? Just for speaking. Like, I see, like, in Afghanistan, the women, they have to wear these coverings over their faces. Like, it looks like a curtain with a net, like, in front of the face, and they can barely breathe in it, and they have to wear it. I see women riding in the back of a trunk like a dog. Like, it's no way you talking about liberation. It's no way that you're going to be able to be liberated if you are enslaving the woman and you telling her that she's second to you or she's under you. That is disgusting, and that is wrong. And see, nobody's saying nothing because I guess they scared of these Wahhabis and jihadists. They scared of them. There's nothing to be scared of. They stupid. These people, they strap bombs to themselves and blow themselves up. Come on. They're very dedicated to what they believe, but they're not that smart and not that wise. So I think most people are scared of them. They're scared to even speak about it or whatever the case, because they have this propaganda and how they so radical. Nobody's more radical than a black man and a black woman that's in the right position.
It's a difference between being smart and being dangerous. They dangerous because of the stupidity. Because you're so radical for a religion that you're willing to strap a bomb to yourself and blow yourself up. And that's what makes them dangerous. They're not intelligent.
And then they're not reading the Quran. You got to understand too, knowing the history of the Wahhabis, Taim ibn Taim, he wrote a whole nother book from the Quran. They believe that, see, people don't even know what they believe. They just think, they Muslims, but we don't read the same books. They believe that they are the bloodline of Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, but they not, because Prophet Muhammad already said that there's going to be 3 bloodlines that saying that they from me, that swear, but they not. That's those bloodlines right there that's swearing that they from him. But how could you be from him if the original people was melanated? Even the original Sumerians, the original Assyrians, the original Persians, they all were black. They were dark. So I be telling people, and it's not, and I know people, they when you talk to some of these people, they're gonna be like, it's racist, but it's not racist. It's just the truth. They was created. They was cloned people. They have other DNA inside of them, like dog animal DNA. And then when you look at them physically, you can tell by the hair, the fur all over their body. The only thing that's covered in fur like that is an animal. So that is we just looking at genetics. something was created in Babylon. Something happened in Babylon. Something was being created. If you look at this new Babylon, they cloning people like crazy. So these people were created, and it's certain parts of the brain where people are dysfunctional, like the back of the brain, and they only operate because you have like 3 parts of the brain. They'd say the reptilian brain, and I can't remember the other 2 parts of the brain, but the reptilian part of the brain just deals with dysfunction. It deals with being destructive. And all of these parts of the brain is to be used for certain points. But if you only using that part of the brain, then you have a whole group of people that's so violent, and they doing things that don't make sense to where they killing their own people now. They bombing the mosque in their countries. They bombing, they're destroying where they live. Now that's not smart. How can that be smart? How can you really have an army of people if you are destroying the people? They're not going to fight with you. So that's what's happening right now. And this is through religion. They using religion to keep pushing this and pushing this and pushing this. And somebody have to stop it and say, wait, this is not the right way. And when we say this is not the right way, we have to show them what the right way is. Because they're going to know, well, what is the right way?
Almost every major conflict has started due to some kind of religious belief. It's when you get down to the brass tacks of it, that's the business of religion is bloodshed.
And you know why? Because everybody's saying, no, this way is the right way. No, this way is the way to be. No, this way. It's all one. You don't have to, the creator created different people in different regions for a reason, just to know, for us to know that we all still are one. Everything for the people to certain people to understand that it's not really to go against any of these people. You really got to rally the people that's with you from each of these different thoughts, these thinking patterns, or these consciousness, if you can call it, because religion is programming you to have a certain consciousness, and either it's shutting out spirituality. Because a lot of Muslims, they scared of spirituality, but all in the Quran is saying that your standing has to be just as good in this physical world as it is in the spiritual world. So it's letting you know that you have to be spiritual. Even it's a part in the Quran I was reading that says you have to fulfill your lowest purpose. You have to fulfill your lowest self before you can come to your higher self. So you're going to start out rough around the edges, maybe, selling drugs or doing whatever it is that don't serve you. And then you transform from that and you elevate. But now the people who don't get a chance to elevate, it's a humbling experience. You really get to see how blessed you are, because you could have still just been, not unelevated, just still in the same position. But now you know what it's like to be behind bars or to be in that lifestyle, and then transform yourself. And they don't talk about that. They don't talk enough about spirituality in Islam, period. You have Sufism, they deal with spirituality, they deal with mysticism, but it's still like exclusive. If you're not a Sufi, it's kind of hard for you to just, not really, but like you don't have to have nobody accept you, but you get what I'm saying, how they separate it. Like, why is it being separated? This is the spiritual part. We need this in this period. Like, it's not, if you're a Sufi, you tapped into the spiritual. It's like everybody has to be tapped into the spiritual if you really want to see some things happen, some things change.
Yeah, the Kemetic paradigm, it talks about higher and lower self, and it's represented with your higher self being represented by Haru, your lower self being represented by Sutek. And while the untrained eye or the uninitiated would see Sutek as sort of for lack of a better term, a devil figure. But it's not necessarily evil. It's your lower self. And so, but your lower self can't. In other words, when you need to check somebody, that's not coming from your higher self. That's from your lower self. You gotta go into your Sutek energy to check that person.
And I just went into that.
You need to apologize. You might need to get back to your Haru
Yeah.
aspect. And I tell people all the time, like, it ain't, like, everybody try to make it complicated. It's like when I was little, my mother, I got in a lot of trouble as a kid. And we called my mother by her first name, which is Arlene. And I knew when I was in trouble because when I got home, my sister would say, she wouldn't say Arlene, she would say, Miss Foster looking for you. Now, the energy of Miss Foster was different from the energy of Arlene. And so when she said Miss Foster, she gave me a certain look. I'm like, now I gotta brace myself because it's about to be an extension course experience. But, and that's the same thing. Your Sutek energy and your Haru energy is different. Your Ra energy and your Apep energy or your Sekhmet energy, it's all different. These are things that you tap as a fully formed divine being. But I knew her energy shifted because of the connotation my sister gave me, and we do that all the time. And so I got the theory that the Abrahamic religions or fragments from the periphery of African spiritual concepts, because all of these things are echoed throughout the continent. Like all of these different aspects of these different spiritual traditions are echoed throughout these African traditions, whether it's Ifa, whether it's the Orisha tradition, whether it's the Kemetic tradition, Zulu tradition. It's all of these concepts are there. And so that just, but even if we go as far as going to coming over here to the Mayans and the Inca and the the way humans view spirituality is consistent. It's consistent. Yeah. So that's why it always, when people try to say, well, the Abrahamic faiths are unique in this way. Well, it's not as unique as you want to try to make it out to be. Just haven't looked into nothing else. So, but let me get to my last question, and then we'll go ahead. I'm gonna let you close out, and we'll shut it down. Okay. But it's basically the same as it was for the brothers. So, I know you have the same sentiments for our Black women as you do for our brothers. You honor and you venerate them, but you also call them to the carpet. Same thing. Why is it important for you to give them the honor that they and the respect that they do, while at the same time calling them to the carpet for what you see as behavior that needs to be alleviated or needs to be improved upon?
Yeah, it's important because look at how divine the Black woman is. Like, look at her position. Like, the things that we have to do, we can't do it if we're still thinking on a low frequency. And right now, you see how important the Black woman is through media, through the internet. We lead in social media right now, everything that we do. But the only thing is that they're rewarding this whole frequency. That's what I call it, a whole frequency, or the slut vibrations. That's the only thing that's being rewarded. And these women are so programmed, they have to be deprogrammed. And some of them, they don't want to be deprogrammed. So some of them are just going to be destroyed because, we talk about the battles between the men, the battles that the men had, but they don't want to talk about the battles that the women had. The divine goddess against the false goddess, putting them in their place, and also still letting them know how important they are. If they ask us why are you saying we should be like this or why are you saying this? Because look at how detrimental this new way of being is to that woman. She can't find no type of relief or peace. She's pretending. Social media has made it so acceptable for people to pretend and act like they happy or act like but we know deep down inside your soul is not intact. All we gotta do is look at you and see by the clothes that you wear, and we know that your soul is not intact. We know by the way you carry yourself. It's not rocket science, so is I would say even a little bit more important to go hard on the women, because why? Men, my experience with men, it's easier to bring knowledge to them and they can accept it. It's like this is something that's already, I see why the Black man was put in a certain position, not saying over the woman, but to protect the woman from herself. Because if you try to tell these women something, they want to argue you and they want to overtalk you and they want to just do all, and it's like, listen, I'm really trying to tell you something to help you. So it's important for them as well to let them, you know, to tell them how important and how powerful they are. Because when I talk to these women, I just start with letting them know how powerful they are. Because you have to, you know, use your words. So I let them know, you know, the Black woman is so powerful, and they feel that. And so as they feel in that, I just go a little bit more and more and let them know, like, why are you so powerful? And how can you activate those powers in you? You know, the Black woman is, some people would say the Black woman is God. I mean, I don't go that far with it, but I know men who, they will do that. They go that far with it. And it's like, I understand the position that you putting us in, that you putting us on a pedestal, but we have to be careful with that too, because you tell these women that who don't have no knowledge and wisdom, and they abuse that. You tell them that, and then they abuse the men. It's like, why would you tell her that, and then you gonna let her, she gonna use it on you, and she not even ready for it yet. You know.
Let me ask you this then, because how much of the state that you see some of our sisters in falls at the feet of the brother? Because we've fallen short of what we were supposed to be as men. So now they've had to do our job and their job. And so there's a hardening that is taking place, because I got to be the man, and I got to be the woman. I got to be the mother, and I got to be the father. Oh, and I'm still trying to have this little over here to satisfy my loneliness or my physical need. And so, even though he a piece of a man, he my man. So there's not only a strength that comes with being a Black woman, but there's a strength and a power that has been established in the fact that I've been doing this on my own at first because I had to, and now because I'd rather just keep running on my own, because all these men out here, they ain't about nothing. They ain't worth nothing. So why would I compromise what I've built on my own? And so, and what I mean by that is, whether it's the thought, or as they say, the hood rat, etc., or all the way up to the educated system. Mm-hmm. It's been a letdown from men, starting with the hood rat all the way up to the educated system. Yes. We haven't taken care of our business, and so now they've decided to do whatever it is they've decided to do to compensate for that. How much of where they are mentally falls back on us not taking care of our business?
I would say about 65%. Why? Because the man has so much power over the woman. You know, anything that you want, you know, she's gonna go ahead and do it and give it to you. So I look at it like this: if you let her know that you're not moved by that. See, the man has to control his sexual appetite. He has to have discipline. He has to control his sexual desires. You can't get crazy over every woman you see that's naked or twerking or something like that, because all you do is you feed in the energy. You feeding her, so she's gonna keep going. So when you starve of energy, because there's nothing but spirits in these women, it's entities that's living inside of these women, and they don't even know it. That's why they can do, you know, things like the cucumber challenge and online for everybody to see, brother, father, mother, whoever can see that video, and they don't think about that. They don't care. Their excuse is, I'm grown. No, you're not grown, because to be grown is to be spiritually aware, conscious. That's to be grown. You know, you just a adult body, but you still have the mind of a child when it comes to universal consciousness. So if the man starved that entity that's inside the woman and ignore her, like how men could do, because men have this thing that I admire about them. They have this carelessness where they can just detach from a woman like this. They need to learn that for these type of women that's out here. Ignore them. If you ignore them, they will stop what they're doing. They will try to see, what is it that I need to do now since he ignored me? He don't like this. What he like now? that's using your wisdom to get these women to act right, to be right, to do right. And the ones who's not gonna, adhere to that thing, they'll just be left by themselves.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get real personal for a second, because this is a situation that, for me, when it comes to women, I have a sister, I have 4 daughters, obviously my wife, my mother, so my mother-in-law got all daughters. So, and then I have my youngest child, who I want to see women treated a particular way, and so I have it's a dichotomy, so to speak, that where I struggle with a past where I wasn't I wasn't the nicest to females, not just those who I profess to love, but those who I would use and abuse, for lack of a better term. And so I have a lot of guilt both ways. Obviously more so for the people I love, but also as a father, understanding the manipulation I apply to females. I know I'm like, I gotta experience that. I may have to see my daughters go through that. Case in point, my daughter's married, and her husband is not ideal. And I leave it at that. And I believe she deals with him not being ideal because of what she saw her mother deal with growing up before I reached maturity, if that makes sense. And so I feel responsible for her dealing with the things she deal with. Now, it may have nothing to do with me, but I believe it does. Because who is the example for a man to their daughter? They father. They not looking at nobody, their father. And so it's different for my younger daughters because I was a different person as they grew up. But for her, I feel like she put up with certain things based on the fact, well, this ain't even as bad as what Daddy did, or if this ain't nothing compared to what my mama dealt with. You know what I mean? And so, but at the same time, you shouldn't settle for somebody not treating you the way you deserve to be treated under any circumstances. And so I have that, it's like a cloud. You know what I'm saying? And so, but at the same time, I'm good with having that cloud because it gives me clarity. Never playing that type of behavior, hurting my wife and showing my other daughter that type of behavior again. So it's where it saddens me on one end, it fortifies me on the other end, if that makes sense. But I think that where women are in a situation where they obviously could be better, I think it's a lot of on hurt and disappointment that was handed to them by us. And if we stop handing out heartache, disappointment, not meeting expectations, I think a lot of the behavior that these women, whether it's women cared about in a relationship, whether it's father, whatever it was, I think if we get our act together, the women, the daughters, the wives, get their act together. Because a lot of these women have girlfriends, wives, daughters who father wouldn't there, or father didn't show them anything, father mistreated their mother. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Whereas I understand that you have to have things that they got to improve upon, but it start with father figures, the husbands, etc. Because if we ain't showing them what a man supposed to treat them, they ain't got no example. So they don't for shit.
That's true. That's a part of, men, the accountability part, like men really understanding the things that they do, like the cause and effects of the things that they do, and I know that I talk to so many men, and they might have a little bit issue with, taking on that responsibility, but it's all about just being that truthful, because then you start thinking about it like, well, what if they don't have daughters yet? If they don't have, it's easy for them to just keep doing what they're doing. But when they do start having, and this always happens when men have daughters, that's when they really be scared, because they start thinking about everything that they did. And so if that's enough to get you scared, then you should think about that too before you even have any daughters. Because karma is gonna come, and if karma miss you, like it say, like in the scriptures, the Creator be cursing whole bloodlines. They say your whole bloodline gonna be cursed, your children's children. So that when you think about it like that, you're like, oh, I really need to be on my square, because I don't want to let this trickle down into bloodlines, and it's like a generational curse. And those are the things that we have to break, just by identifying what's some of the issues. And I know that Black men and Black women have to have more open conversations like this. They need to have conversations like this. Like, forget the small talk. Like today, a guy was trying to talk to me, small talk. I'm like, I'm not even interested. You asking me how old am I, and little frivolous things, like I'm not interested. Like, you're not talking about the right stuff. You're not asking me the right questions. I'm shut down. And if women know how to have that type of discipline, then they'll die. I dodged a lot of bullets when I was younger, because you gotta understand, when we was younger, it was only two options. You could be a hoe or you could be a pimp. That's the culture that we have. So I said, I'm not gonna be no hoe. I guess I'll just be the pimp. And so I learned so much from that, and I dodged so many bullets from that, and I seen how men were, and I had the opportunity to actually open men up just by picking that type of position, instead of, me being so promiscuous. We flirted and stuff like that, when you're younger, but I always had something to offer besides that. And that's what made them be like, oh, you deep. I like you, but I wasn't even interested in having no relationships with them. So I would say I would probably, mac on them spiritually, because I wasn't giving them my bodies, my body. So it's just, we have to have more conversations like this. Like, I know it's needed. Not enough Black men and Black women actually talk about what really matters. They argue and they go back and forth, like it's a back and forth. We're going to have that moment too, but still under a respect thing. Like, understand that this is respect. You don't have to agree with what he's saying. You don't have to agree with what she's saying, but you need to understand, because when you have children, the whole thing changed. Now you got to teach those children. You got to show them something.
Yeah,
so
it's funny how when you reach a certain level of maturity, like when you in the midst of your old self and that type of behavior, you ain't thinking about the future. But when you come out of it and you start getting into your higher self, you looking around and you like, wait a minute, what if somebody do to my daughter? What? Okay, how do I stop this?
Yeah.
Truth is, it ain't no. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. It ain't no stopping. Because
sometimes I just have to learn.
Yeah, I tried to stop it so much that, how like that, if you ever read Oedipus Rex, he tried to stop something from happening to the point that he made it happen. And so it's like, and I feel like that's what I did. I tried to prevent something from happening so much that I ended up just making it happen. And so now I'm a little easy. I back off a little bit as much as I can anyway. I try to be a little more open, with the other ones, but it's like a delicate, it's a tightrope, because
Yeah.
you're a father and you want to protect their heart, but.
And how old is she, if you don't mind me asking?
My oldest is 26, so
Okay, she's still young.
yeah,
You know.
she's been married, I want to say 4 or 5 years, something like that. So she
Okay.
got two babies, 4 and 2. So I got 2 grandbabies. So it's always, you can always find good in a sad situation. I ain't gonna say bad situation, but a sad situation. So it's not. It is what it is. But like I say, I gotta deal with the part I played in it, and the part like it's elements that of my life that my father realized he played a part in, because of things that my father had a motto when it came to women: give them nothing, take everything. Except for your girl. Like, you have your girl, but you gotta have you like 3 or 4 on the side. That's his modus operandi.
And that's what a lot of men do. And didn't I just say that? He going whatever you want to give him, he'll take it. But these women that's why they need a woman there to give them this game. Just like how men was there to give men this game. Like you had Magic Don Juan, you had Pimp Snooki and what's his name, Pimpin' Ken, and these are men that men looked up to. You didn't really have women to give that same knowledge, and they would give them knowledge on how to be prostitutes. That's the wrong type of knowledge. They needed knowledge to how to dodge those type of men. So that's what they need now, and that's the position I put myself in, because I acquire all of this information. So I'm like, I need to give this information to women, especially younger women. That's, older women, they gonna do what they want. Sometimes you can help them out if they really want to, but it's more so about the ones who's younger, coming up like in their teenage years, because they watching these women and they even having these same.
That clay can still be molded.
Yeah.
You reach a certain age, that clay kind of set. So
yeah, and so it's nothing that you could tell them. Like they be like brick walls. So it's like, well, let me just go talk to your daughter then, so your daughter won't be the same one like you, because we don't need no more of this. Because really, what we about to do is clean house. We about to destroy this whole frequency, the slut vibration. We about to kill it. So if you're not on the side of being a divine goddess, if you still want to play around in the world, you're gonna get destroyed in the world. The Creator sent us here to realign everything. That's what the whole Kemetic system is about, restoring balance. And you can't be scared to get rid of these people, even if they your mother, father, brother, sister, whoever. If they not on this path right here, because we see how detrimental it is to our people to be so screwed up and backwards. We're not gonna let them destroy us. So we really just defending ourselves. And that's how you see too, when I look at the pharaohs, and I look at like comic, they have like the artwork and like comic book kind of superheroes. They'll draw like the pharaohs with a lot of electric energy around them, and their eyes is glowing up, and they look so mad, they enraged, but they divine. That's because they tired of that's us tired of what's happening, and so we so enraged, we ready to kill everything that's not on this path, and we're not asking no more. We're not begging. We really just letting people know. Somebody have to let people know this is what we doing. Because remember, the black man and black woman is coming back into a position to rule and lead. Ain't no ruler asking the people what you want. We telling you this is what's gonna happen. And they don't have the powers that we have. They don't have what we have to even fight against us. So even if they try to fight back, that's not gonna be good enough. It's not gonna save them. So it's so important that we let these women know, like sometimes these women have to go, like I'm telling you, I know so many women, like the situations like that I be hearing from women is so sad. And it's like, how can you let yourself, like you don't have no type of boundaries, none at all. Like you so numb, you can't even establish any, like you just go for anything. It's so sad. And I'm just glad that it's not me. That's all I can say.
Yeah, she desperately trying to feel something, because like I tell you a story. And again, just getting into my own personal story. My father had me and my brother a year apart. I'm born 76, my brother born 77. We got different mothers. So
Oh,
he went back and forth between our mothers for years. So my mother decided she gonna start seeing somebody else. You know, first, nah, Fur wouldn't Fur. Hey, you gotta drop him or we done. And she looking like my mother not the type who you can just say that to. So she like, what? You literally, like me and my brother born in the same month. So
yeah.
I'm born October of 76. He's born October of 77. So
Wow.
and my mother had my sister. My stepmother had my other brother. And so on and so she like, how you got the nerve to try to tell me I gotta drop somebody? Nah, that's what it is. So she was like, I ain't doing nothing. He was like, okay, cool, we done. And he meant it. And he walked away from her. And I firmly believe because she was so in love with him and didn't think that he would walk away from her, it damaged her for the rest of her life. Now, she would hate me saying that, but that's just my opinion. And I done told her this, I done told him that, because she just was never the same. And so, and a lot of things took place that I won't get into now, but you could just see how it affected her. But he didn't care that, yeah, I went back and forth between y'all and I had other women. You can't have no other dude. And he meant it. And he walked away. And so, and his words literally was, we can have sex, but you can't never be my woman again.
Wow. And that's what a lot of men do. That's what they do right now to these women. And you know what? It's to the point where these women are okay with it. They're okay with being.
Just imagine somebody who you in love with, been in love with since you in your early 20s. You've been in love with this person since you was 14 or 15 years old. And that's what they say to you, knowing what they've done to you. And this happens all the time.
All the time. And it's worse. It's worse. I'm telling you, it's worse. And it's like, y'all gotta have some type of love for yourself to just be like, well, I don't even want nobody like this. It's the red flags in the beginning that you have to see too, that can avoid all of this stuff.
Have to teach our daughters, our young women, our women, period. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Love yourself first. Because if you love yourself first, you love yourself enough to know, even if you're in a relationship that you really like. Again, I always bring stuff back full circle to me. If it ever got to a point where my wife just like, look, I can't take it, she got to love herself enough to say, that's it. If I'm being that bad to her, love yourself enough to just walk away, because you don't know what that whatever it is that I'm doing, how that's going to consume you going forward once you do decide to walk away, or once I decide to walk away, because that it's still consuming you. And so that we got to teach them to love themselves enough not to let somebody else's decisions control how they behave.
Yes.
And,
and that's why I'm blossoming into a self-care guru. That's what I call it. Or like I'm going to like Buddhist monk state when it comes to self-care, because I'm telling you have to, because I have to show you. It's no point in having all of this knowledge and all of these skills and all of these gifts and you don't give it away. Like, what's the point of keeping it in? Like, there's no point, because once we leave this plane of existence, the body is going to stay here. We don't need it anymore. Exactly. So it's just so important that we show these women how to love themselves and how to accept themselves, because I'm telling you, women get together and all they talk about is men. And what I do is I just switch that whole conversation around and I start talking about us. And we could talk about men, but let's talk about what really matters. Not saying I don't want to hear your sad stories. I want to hear them. Yeah, but now let's talk about how to not ever let that happen again, or how to, the next, because they'll leave one man and they'll keep finding the same type of men. You know how many men these women have been with that done them the same? I'm like, how? Don't you ever get tired? Don't you ever, like, when are you going to get tired and be like, that's it? That's why I say women are so powerful. That's the reason why I say we're so powerful, because we could love a man 1,000 till we could get our heart broken 1,000 times and still be ready. Like, yep, he about to be the one. What you mean? You didn't even heal from the other one. So I know we resilient.
Look at that as if it's a weakness, but is it a weakness?
It's a strength.
And I know a woman, like you, it's funny you say they get with the same type of man. I know a woman, all she dated, every man I've known her to date was an alcoholic and a drug addict. Every last one, like bam, 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 bam. I'm talking about they died.
Did she drink?
She dated
stuff?
She drank, but she never did the drug thing, but she drank. But every last one of them. And you're like this is just your type. Like what?
Yeah. But that, see, too, that's the vibration that she's on. She's on that frequency. So as long as once you leave that person, if you're still on that frequency, you're about to get the same person back. You have to literally switch gears. There's so many gears to us that we don't kick into. We stay at the lowest of the lowest. And we're programmed to stay at the lowest. And we programmed to celebrate the lowest and be rewarded at our lowest. So look at what we have when we go on social media. It's really disgusting to me what I see. Because I see more destructiveness than any type of healing. Because it's like, if you have women who are promoting wisdom and knowledge and taking care of yourself and setting boundaries, you got them women that come along, those damaged women who's trying to attack you because you're speaking the truth. And it's like, okay, you want to stay on that low level, you could stay there. But why is it wrong to tell a woman that it's okay to be whole, it's okay to be by yourself and elevate yourself? I know women who they never not been in a relationship. How is that? That means that you've never gotten a chance to know who you are, to even know your boundaries. You don't know your boundaries. You don't know the things that you don't like, or what you can't take, or what's too much for you. They don't know none of these things because they always have to be up under somebody. They always have to be up under a man. And it's like, no, you have to take that time for yourself. It's not being lonely. You being alone in solitude. That's peace. You're going to be alone anyway once you leave this realm. That's just what it is. Some of us experienced this already at the top. We know it's lonely at the top. It's only a few of us. It's only a few of us up here.
Alone, you're going to die alone. But
yeah.
But I'm going to let you close out, my sisters. It's been an honor talking to you. Yeah. We definitely going to have to do it again. But yeah, close out, let the people know where they can find you. And like I say, I'm going to check your schedule and we're going to have to chop it up again soon.
Yeah, we got definitely. Thank you for having me on the platform. I'm excited just to be here and just to do the work that we're about to do, because it's about to be explosive. If you guys want to find me on Facebook, you can go type in Dija Osei, DIJAHOSEI. That's my main page, my only page. Find me there, message me, just enjoy the content, and I'll be back soon. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. We appreciate you. We definitely appreciate you. All right, family. This has been Paradigm Shift TV. Go find the sister, get some of this knowledge, get some of this wisdom, and we'll check back in with you later. Hotel.
All right, peace.
Peace. Peace.